So, have you ever imagined what would happen if a book review blog stopped being just a blog and became a full-blown mythological pantheon? A place where reviews aren't just opinions, they're decrees, and the ratings are handed down by an oracle. Well, that's what we're diving into. We are going to deconstruct this incredibly creative and, frankly, very complex branding proposal for a review site built all around the goddess Athena.
And right from the jump, the brand lays down its own rules. Honestly, this one sentence, it's the key to everything else. It's completely rejecting the idea of some neutral, detached critic. Instead, it's all in on a powerful, personal, and really authoritative voice. This isn't about finding a middle ground. It's about declaring a truth. So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at the whole idea behind ditching simple star ratings. Then, we'll dive into how they built this incredibly complex, multi-layered rating system. After that, we'll analyze the whole oracle voice the brand creates. And finally, we're going to take a step back and really critique the message this whole system is sending. Okay, so first things first, the brand is on a mission. It's trying to solve a problem that I think we've all felt, those generic, kind of impersonal reviews. And the goal here is, well, it's ambitious. They want to make reviewing a book feel less like you're filling out a form and more like you're having this profound, almost spiritual experience with the story. And the whole philosophy really rests on these three pillars. You've got strategy, which is all about the craft, how the author actually built the thing that wowed you. Then there's wisdom, which is about the impact, what sticks with you long after you're done. And finally, my favorite, Re. This frames the review itself as a dialogue, a direct response to the book. It's a huge signal right away that this blog wants to go way deeper than a simple thumbs up.
All right, so that's the big idea. But how do you actually turn that philosophy into a rating system? Well, this is where the world building gets really wild, and a simple rating becomes a story all on its own. So the first version is pretty cool, but still, you can wrap your head around it. 5 owls for a masterpiece, a cracked urn if the story kind of falls apart. It's thematic, it's clear, it gives you that mythological flavor. But trust me, this is just the warm-up. Okay, now we get the first major level up. The simple icons are totally replaced by a hierarchy of Greek gods. All of a sudden, a 5-star book isn't just great, it's god tier, it's Zeus. And a 1-star book, it's banished to the underworld with Hades. The rating itself is now telling you where this book fits in some kind of cosmic order. It's pretty brilliant. And that brings us to the final form, which is just, wow. The focus gets laser sharp on ancient feminist rep, using goddesses and primordial forces. A 5-star book is now Hera, the queen, absolute authority. A 4-star is Metis, the cunning strategist. The branding has just become so specific, so layered. Oh, and it doesn't stop at 5 stars. No way. The system has what it calls transcendental tiers, for books that are just on another level. For instance, that book that becomes a part of you? That earns many for memory. Or that absolute must-read of the year. That's enonke for necessity. This whole system is designed to have a peak that goes way beyond a simple perfect score. So, we've got the system down, but the brand's real power isn't just in what it is, it's in how it's delivered. So let's talk about the voice, this persona of the oracle that hands down all these verdicts. I mean, this quote right here is a declaration of power. It shifts the reviewer from being a friendly guide to being an undeniable authority. It's not, hey, here's my opinion. It's, this is the oracle's truth. And that framing is so important because it asks for a different kind of respect from the reader. It's not really an invitation to agree, it's a proclamation to be heard. And you can see how the language just constantly reinforces that authority. Look at these examples. We've got words like throne and sovereign power. Reviews are called a decree based on calculation. The whole thing is designed to build this world with the reviewer at its powerful center, where reading isn't just reading, it's a game to be analyzed. Now, to back up all this authority, the brand creates a kind of warrior's checklist. The oracle's truth isn't just coming out of nowhere. It's supposedly based on a calculation of these 3 things: the book's strategic cunning, its narrative stakes, and its thematic vision. This gives a logical backbone to what could otherwise just feel like totally subjective decrees. Okay, we get the system, we get the voice. Now let's do what the brand does and analyze it. Let's step back and really think about what it all means. What happens when you frame book reviews not as a friendly discussion, but as a verdict delivered from a battlefield? So, to be clear, there are some really amazing intentions here. Take the Metis rating, for example. It's explicitly meant to honor works from marginalized creators, and it frames them as strategists who had to be clever just to get their stories heard. And that is a powerful, really thoughtful idea.
But this brings up a pretty critical question. Does that framing really empower that voice? Or does it just kind of absorb that very real struggle into its own pre-existing battle aesthetic? It makes you wonder if the representation is serving the creator first, or if it's serving the brand's identity first.
When you get down to it, this whole brand is a total double-edged sword. On one side, you get this incredibly strong, unforgettable identity that builds a super loyal community who all speak the same language. But on the flip side, that strength can feel really exclusive and elitist. The system is so complex it could scare people off, and the whole battle-ready tone might just shut down any kind of casual, fun debate.
And this slide really puts a fine point on it. The language completely changes the dynamic. A review becomes a tactical briefing. The community isn't just a community, it's a council. The reviewer stops being a guide and becomes an oracle, handing down a verdict. And it all leads to that big question: at what point does a review stop being a conversation and just become a one-way proclamation?
And hey, if you're wondering just how deep this rabbit hole goes, look at this number, 38. Across all the different versions and ideas, we counted over 38 unique terms for ratings, honors, even little labels for how a book was acquired. Now, that number is a testament to the brand's unbelievable creativity, but it also points to its biggest risk, becoming so dense that a newcomer just can't get in.
You know, the brand's own sign-off says it all, doesn't it? It is powerful, it's memorable, and it is 100% committed to its metaphor. Reading isn't supposed to be passive, it's getting yourself ready for a fight.
And that just leaves us with one last thing to think about. This brand is an absolute masterclass in building an identity, for sure. But it's also a pretty fascinating case study for how we all talk online. When we frame criticism and discussion and art itself as a strategic battle with winners and losers, who really wins?